Next, I'm going to introduce our last speaker. Sana is a labor organizer with Unite Here Local 40. They're a small but a fighting union. So she moved to Canada 6 years ago from Iran as an international student and started working in McDonald's to pay her rent, and now, and that's how, as she describes, had the first taste of living on stolen land of opportunities. Okay, so yeah, thank you. I'll pass it over to Sana for presentation.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Sana. It's like Anna with S. And I also brought Faye with me, who's a labor. She's one of the hotel workers who's with us, and also she's amazing. She organized her workplace, not only her own workplace, but she also, in her free time, she goes to other hotels and organizes other hotel workers, which is amazing. When Roche was talking about the history of the labor movement, it reminded me like when I was not an organizer yet. I always had this imagination of the workers, the workers, union members are like these male, white male, miners, like the factory workers. And it's just when I joined the union and I started organizing, I saw that actually most of the fights is coming from women of color, and it's pretty interesting to see that. Like the whole picture of having the white males. Seeing the white males, fighting, it's actually not true. My personal experience was that, like, most of the time, it's women in the workplaces that tell the men to, just stop mansplaining and move your ass, excuse my language. And also, like, when I get, really excited about what I'm talking about, I use a lot of bad words, so, like, excuse my French in advance. I'm a labor organizer. We're Unite Here Local 40. We're a hotel workers union. We represent camp workers who work for the LNG pipeline and many of the famous hotels. Many of you might think, how many hotels does Vancouver has? But you should think to yourself that Canada, Vancouver is like LA of Canada. So it's the only destination in Canada that a lot of tourists come. So like they make a lot of revenue out of it. And the companies that we deal with, the hotel owners, are literally people just like Donald Trump. So like they have no shame whatsoever in just like exploiting people, and they even enjoy it. They hired these expensive lawyers. We are dealing with this famous lawyer in Vancouver. Maybe some of you guys know is Israel Shaftis. This guy's like one of the most famous anti-union lawyers in Vancouver. And just like his name, he's a piece of shit. And I wanted to just I sent a couple of pictures to you. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so when the pandemic happened, of course it was. Oh, actually, that's Faye. I'm sorry, Faye. When the pandemic started, we were all like, oh my God, this is gonna be horrible. It's kind of like a recession. But imagine how hard it hit hotel workers, because no one was coming to the town, no one. And these people have been, and this is it was the tourism industry in Vancouver was just booming, in 2019, and just like boom, went down. Everyone got laid off. 50,000 hotel workers in BC got laid off. And our reaction as a union who represents, hotel workers in BC was like, okay, then let's just take a deep breath and see. This is a pandemic. No one knows what is happening in the beginning. So I'm pretty sure, we were so actually optimistic and nice. We were like, the government. I'm pretty sure the government is also confused, which to some extent, yeah, they probably were, So when the workers were laid off, at first we were like, let's everyone, stay safe. And then after a couple of months, we were like, oh my God, but are these people going back to their work ever? And we found out that actually BC's law allowed the employers to just fire people because they haven't worked for so long. You can actually just move through the pictures. I think it's fun. Just actually the second picture is amazing. I won't talk about this. Yeah. So what happened was that, of course, as a union, we went to the. God damn it, man, we have social democrats in BC in power. We were like, oh my God, amazing, NDP. We went to them and we were like, okay, so these companies are thinking about fighting people. Get involved, it's this global fucking pandemic. And the government was like, first like, oh, we should think about it. Of course, like a lot of bureaucracy, happening. At the end, their answer was like, oh, we should never get between the private companies and their unions and their negotiations. And we were like, of course, we got like fuck you, sorry, from them. And what we did as a next step, we talked to our leaders in our union, and they decided to go on hunger strike in Victoria. And whoever fucking politicians come out of the building will be like, hey, we're on hunger strike, literally. I'm coming from Iran, and a lot of activists go on hunger strike in Iran. This is fucking Canada that we keep talking about. And people are on hunger strike because they're worried that when the business recovers and goes back to normal, this is simple. Just think about it. Simple, the most simple request. When the business goes back to normal, not now, they want to go back to their jobs. How simple can that be, And they were like, oh no, we cannot get along. You should negotiate. And they were like, after, months of, being outside the legislature, we decided to just like move on to the next step and just like, of course, do not even think about getting any help from NDP. And the workers went on a strike. 100 hotel workers from Hilton Metrotown, which is a unionized hotel, got fired, and workers have been on a strike in Hilton for this April 14th is going to be 1 year. Heat wave, when it got really cold, they were at the picket line in Hilton Burnaby. 100 workers got fired, and every time the hotel comes back and tells, oh, let's negotiate, when we go to the negotiation table, they were like, okay, we can give you a little bit of raise, we can do this, we can do that, but forget about bringing back those 100 hotel workers. And the negotiation team, the negotiation committees of the workers, most of them are the people who have not been fired. They still have their jobs. Every time they're like, excuse me, go and fuck yourself. We're not going back to work without our coworkers who are fired. So it's been a year these workers are on strike. And it's just amazing. It's mind-blowing to see, how people, support, and of course, a lot of condos are around that area in Metrotown. People come down like, oh my God, you're so loud, which is actually, this is actually a picture from the hunger strike. Is there any other picture? Can you? Next one, I have like a. Oh, this is actually interesting because in the beginning of the pandemic, Trudeau came to media and was like, we want to have a feminist recovery. And then we took a banner like this and we're like, where the fuck is feminist recovery, man? And we went to Vancouver to see like, yeah, these are amazing pick a line pictures. There's one picture I want. Yeah, it's just, we use whatever we have to make some noise, to be honest. So, yeah, so this picture is actually something that is, I'm pretty sure like it's pretty interesting. It was interesting for me. I'm pretty sure it's going to be interesting to other comrades. It's that when the strike happened, it was, with the union, staff union was like, helping the workers to go on strike, like in the strike pay and everything. And now the organizer who took the workers on a strike, my coworker, actually broke his feet when he was playing hockey, and he doesn't go to work. He's not going to picket line as often as he was. And the workers are running the whole picket line, and they, organize this like beautiful ceremony. Can you go to the next picture? I think there's a funny one. Next one. Yeah, they were like, do not get, because they wanted to boycott the hotel and don't let anyone to get married at the hotel and like stop the wedding planners. They just like throw, wedding at the picket line. They dress up, they come. And it's just amazing to see how workers can organize themselves without even the union's existence as a staff or like as a third party. That was amazing. Yeah, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was the campaign that I work with. I'm pretty sure many of you guys have seen when you come out of the waterfront station, there's this beautiful hotel. It used to be a gym in Vancouver. It's called Pan Pacific. It is owned by Westmont Hospitality Group. It's like a huge hotel operation and owner. They have like 200 hotels in US and Canada. And our research team, and when they fired their workers before the pandemic, some of their workers got termination letter, I swear to God, 1 day before Christmas. And they were like, oh, sorry, we cannot have you here anymore. And look what other workers did. Other workers were like, oh, then we're gonna call the union. They were non-union at that point. They called us. We had a union drive. 75% of the hotel workers voted for the union during the pandemic. We organized a 400 workers hotel to join us, Pan Pacific. They're also in negotiation. Of course, the company is using this techniques, and they don't want to bring people back. They also want the same thing. They want their fired coworkers come back to work and also get raises and benefits and everything. Something funny that happened is that the owner of this hotel, Westmont, owns a lot of hotels, and this guy, which is mostly, his hotels are in the U.S., got $48 million combined from Canadian and U.S. government from the taxpayers' money as a relief fund money in order to keep the workers at work, and they still fired people. So $48 million relief fund who went to this guy. And in 2021, this Westmont Hospitality Group bought 17 new hotels. During the pandemic, 17 new hotels when they fired workers. And the workers, of course, they're like, what the fuck is happening? I just want my job back. They bought 17 new hotels. And I mean, of course, we have a lot of different campaigns happening. Like, for example, this next week we have found all the hotels this guy owns, and we want to do leafleting all across Canada and the US at the same time outside his hotels, just to be like, we know where you have hotels and we're coming after you. I'm just gonna keep it short, but the other thing I wanted to say, I want to invite Faye to talk about how her job changed and because of the pandemic, because of course we know in the capitalist society there are a lot of booms and bust cycle, and everything in the 9/11, 2008 recession, and then the pandemic. Every time anything like this happened, when we go back to normal after recovery, and everyone's happy that, oh my God, we're back to normal. It's never normal for the workers, to be honest. Every time anything like this happen, when we go back to work, the job is harder. They cut on labor, and because they had a lot of excuses. Workers after 9/11, hotel workers after 9/11 never recovered from 9/11, never. After 2008 recession, they never recovered from that. Like our international union shows that the numbers of the workers are just like decreasing every time, even though we're like organizing it, we're just like doing everything, but it's still decreasing. It's just because they changed the way everything works, and Faye's gonna talk about it more. But the only thing I wanted to say as someone that as a small member of community of the organizers in BC in Canada for labor. One thing that we have that these capitalists have a lot of funds and resources available to them. The only thing that they don't have and we have, and it's because of the whole the concept of capitalism. It's based on alienating workers from each other and separating them. The only thing that we have and they don't have is just like when we go and talk to other workers and we get them together and we bring them together. These companies, even though they pay $500 an hour for their lawyers, they cannot do that. Not only they don't have the skill, they can't do it because the whole concept of organizing and bringing people together, it just doesn't work for this capitalist, and that's something that we have. And it's just like I wake up every morning because of that, because I know they can't do it, they're not capable of doing it, and they don't want to do it. But we're gonna do it, and that's how we're gonna win. But I'm gonna invite Faye to talk about her job and how it changed during the pandemic. Thank you, everyone. Also, April 14 on the Hilton Picket Line next to the Metrotown station, we're gonna have a rally. Join us if you can. I'm sorry, Faye.
Thank you.
I talked a lot.
That's okay. My name is Faye, and I'm a hotel worker working in the Key, New Westminster, and I'm also union organizer local 40. I would like to tell a little bit story about my contract that was settled during pandemic. It wasn't a good contract, but that's the only way for us to save a lot of members. Otherwise, they will lose their job. The good thing about it, it wasn't a perfect contract, but the good thing about it is they were not fired because we got into the recall strike and we got into a recall strike for 1 year instead of 6 months. And we give up a little here and there, but it's okay for us as long as that we save our pension and the healthcare, most of it. I after the contract, we settled the contract, but then after that, we have a lot of retaliation backward, and just because a lot of people has been laid off, and what happened is we have this job combined classification, and because it cut costing, so in one person um, they are working for two classifications, and for that it's really hard to tackle it. And what we've done is just to be strong, and we just said that that's not our job classification, and we just have to be strong about it because we still have the contract to um, we, our contract, it's written in there that they cannot violate what's it's been written. So if you're not strong enough to face with it, they're gonna take advantage of your weaknesses. Um, so right now, what happened in the hotel is we used to have 16 rooms a day, 80 stayovers, and 8 checkouts. But what's happening, just because they're trying to um, continue the protocols, so we are not supposed to um, connect with the guests while they are inside, so they cut down the stayovers. We're only cleaning checkouts, but it was really hard because if you do the daily cleaning, it's better than cleaning the checkout when they stayed 5 days. When we stayed 5 days in the hotel, and it build up all the dirty, the garbage because they're eating inside. So that's that was affected our health because of the job that we are dealing every day. It more harder. So I would say that we should go back into the daily cleaning. It's better than giving you 8 checkout or 9 checkout a day, just because of the protocols that we've been dealing with. I don't think that it is reasonable for the people that who really stay home just because they're cutting. So most of them are staying home because we don't have enough rooms to assign. So we've been outside, like even though it's winter, shouting on the street for daily cleaning and hoping that the government will help, to bring back the daily cleaning for us, because what happened right now is, like I said, after the EI is over, then the room attendant or the workers will stay home more. And what happened is, if you don't have second job to continue your lives, so what's gonna happen? Especially if you are sending money to your family. That is the trouble right now with the hotel industry, because if we are only cleaning the checkouts, then that will affect you very much in your financial situation. That's all I can tell right now, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Faye and Sana. Really great presentation, and I'm really glad to learn a lot more about the work that Local 40 has been doing in the union organizers. Great reminder about the Hilton Metrotown workers that have been locked out for a year, soon to be a year, and the rally on April 14th. Thank you. And thank you to all of our speakers tonight. That was really great, and instead of having a formal Q&A session, what we decided to do instead was that we would hope people would stick around and enjoy the food. I'm pretty sure there's still food left and wine, and also we're going to have a donation box circulating, or you can also get donations at the food and wine counter. But yeah, thank you so much, and hope you stick around to chat a little bit or ask questions or just reflect on sort of what we've been talking about tonight. And so, just before we close off, I want to read a poem for you. And so, as previously mentioned earlier when I was talking about the sort of history of International Women's Day, mentioned the phrase bread and roses, and so that phrase that's commonly associated with the successful textile strike in Lawrence, Massachusetts between January and March 1912. So that strike, which is, as I said, often referred to as the bread and roses strike. So the poem Bread and Roses was first published in the American magazine in December 1911 with the attribution line, bread for all and roses too, a slogan of the women in the West. So, to close, I'll just read this poem and then let you all, do whatever you want. So. As we come marching in the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, 1,000 mill lofts gray, are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses, for the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we come marching, we battle too for men, for they are women's children and we mother them again. Our days shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, but give us roses. As we come marching, unnumbered women dead, go crying through our singing their ancient song of bread. Small art and love and beauty their trudging spirits knew. Yes, it is bread we fight for, but we fight for roses too. As we come marching, we bring the greater days. The rising of the women means the rising of the race. No more the drudge and the idler, tend that toil where one reposes, but a sharing of life's glories, bread and roses, bread and roses.